Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last week, the game was Pokemon Silver. The question was whether or not I could beat it with a single Pichu, and that was a grim old trial in places. Today though, we get a better Pokemon, but probably no less of a challenge, as we ask the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Emerald with just a single Growlithe. Now then, Growlithe. It's not a weak Pokemon in theory. A 350 base stat total isn't bad, with a pretty even spread across the stats. The best ones are attack and special attack with 70. Our worst is regular defense at 45. 350 is the same as Baneri, Cranidos, Rufflet, Shieldon, Skiddo, and another Pokemon we did a challenge with once, long ago, in Mienfoo. So putting it like that, not that special. Our ability will be either Intimidate or Flash Fire. We're weak against ground, rock and water. In Hoenn, this isn't going to be pleasant. Mind you, we could be Hisui and Growlithe, which would be even worse with all the water types here. What about our moveset? There's some not bad moves. Bite will be useful, which we start with. I'll take the fire moves of Ember, Flame Wheel and Flamethrower, as each is a gradual improvement on the one that came before. The rest of our learn set is a bit meh, though. What about our TM learn set? Hidden Power could be useful. Iron Tail, I'd rather not after last week's fun and games with it, but I might have to. Return definitely will be useful. It's about the best option we have for water types. Dig, I could dig that. That might not be bad. Aerial Ace is a surprise move that we can learn, but I'm not sure how useful that will be. Rest of the moves we get are, again, pretty meh. I think that's a pretty good description of what we can learn. Predictions then about how I think this will go. Well, I think the first gym has potential to be annoying. I think that the Maxi and Archie fights might have potential to be fun. After those, well, I can see us having a smooth run right up until it gets to the 7th gym, and then I can see things grinding to a halt. The double battle will be terrible. Hoenn will likely be horrible. Drake I can see causing issues. And well, then there's a champion. That's not going to be an easy fight either. Ironically, if we can get to him, and that's a very big if, this will probably give us our best chance to beat Steven Stone out of all of the Hoenn runs we've had. If you do enjoy what you see here, then please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, most of all. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Growlithe. I'll need other Pokemon for HMs, but they're not going to be permitted to fight. For the mandatory double battle, I'll think of something. Only held items and Pokeballs are permitted in battle, but outside of battle, healing is permitted. And last of all, no glitches or exploits. So, using the UPR then, I replaced Torchic with Growlithe so that the whole run can be completed with the puppy Pokemon. I replaced Torchic so that our rival would have Mudkip, which is the hardest for us to fight. Hard being a relative term in this game for the rival fights. Growlithe and Arcanine are pretty cool Pokemon, let's be honest. We saved Birch as Dog beats Raccoon in this circumstance, and he gives us the said Growlithe as a reward. I nicknamed the new Pokemon Pupper, and check out what we're working with. Intimidate is the ability, it could be useful, and the nature is naive, so increased speed and lowered special defense. That's going to be a problem in this run potentially, since all water moves hit special damage in this game, and that's our main weakness. Ah well, it is what it is. I grind the speed EVs for a bit by knocking out some Zigzagoon. I'm considering buffing the attack EVs as well on the Poochyena, because although our stab attacks are all special, we're probably going to have to rely a lot on return in the late game, especially versus Wallace and Hoenn. Grinding on Poochyena at first is annoying due to them resisting our only attacking move in Bite, but we'll soon get Ember. At level 9, I take on the May fight and I'm not anticipating problems. I'm right, because a single crit bite, one hits Mudkip and we're moving on up. That wasn't a problem. I wonder how many times we'll say that about the rival fight in this game. It's not long before we arrive in Petalburg City and do the Wally stuff before heading onward once again. I'm probably going to need a few levels ahead of the Rock Gym because although Bite is special in this game rather than physical, Nosepass can still be a pretty tricky customer. Not long after that we arrive in Rustboro. Pupper is at level 12 but that's not even close to being strong enough, so I head to the east of the city and do a bit more training. I make the first try on Roxanne at level 17. I'm not feeling confident, but it'll give me an idea of how we stack up. We do decent damage with bites on the Geodude, taking a Rock Tomb from the first one before we knock it out, thanks to a heal. But the second one goes down to a crit bite. Nosepass though, we don't deal enough damage to it, we don't get flinches, it uses Harden, which won't affect us, Block, which ditto, and then takes us out with 2 Rock Tombs. I make a second try at level 19. I have quite a bit of fortune in this fight, with Rock Tomb missing, Flinch Luck from Bite, and a crit on the second Geodude. the second time in a row. It's a slog versus nose pass once again. I get hit twice by Rock Tomb, but thankfully it doesn't stop us from biting it over and over until it goes down. The flinch look and accuracy of Rock Tomb does me right. It gives me the first badge. Before we leave Rustboro after taking part in a hostage situation, we encounter May again for another fight. I decide to roar her Torkoal out and take Mudkip out with 2 bite attacks while she goes for bide. I wonder how many times I'll screw up saying that during the recording before I take Torkoal out with 3 bites. Probably didn't need to do that, but what can you do? I didn't actually screw that up while recording it, so yay me. Next is Growlithe in Jewford, and I'm not entirely sure how this one will go. His Makuhita might have the thick fat ability, which means it'll resist fire moves somewhat, meaning our 2 attacking moves will be ineffective. Ah well, I guess I see how we stack up then. Machop is probably the easiest. We 2-hit it with Ember. It only lands an intimidated low kick attack in exchange. Meditite is annoying thanks to him healing it and using Light Screen, but eventually we take it out. The main thing going into this point is that he used all his super potions. I've got fond memories of Meditite, having used one in my Brilliant Diamond playthrough, as well as doing a challenge to take on Pokemon Fire Red with it. It can't actually attack, which helps as long as we keep on hitting it. Makuhita uses Bulk Up a bunch of times, lands a few Vital Throws which do decent damage even when it's burned, but some fortune strikes me as I get crits when needed. I get the second badge. Onward with the story, and the next major fight is versus May underneath Cycling Road, and this one goes badly. Lombre I take out with a bite and a crit Ember, and Slugma is a 2-hit with bite, but it crucially puts Pupper to sleep with Yawn. When Marsh Stomp comes out, it 1-hit crits Pupper with Mudshot. Not good. I make a second attempt at level 31, and although we 1-hit both Lombre with our newly acquired Flame Wheel and Slugma with Takedown, I go for bites on Marsh Stomp to try and get the flinch, but fail with both attempts and get 2-hit with Mudshot. Third attempt, I get both a crit and a flinch on Marsh Stomp, meaning we walk out of the fight mostly unscathed. There is a case for saying this is probably the hardest rival fight in the Hoenn games, especially in Gen 3. In Gen 6, maybe not, but as you get better in these games, the rival usually stagnates, so we move on. I have a good feeling about the Morville gym. Usually this is a pain, but I think this time we might be okay. Wally gets swept aside outside the building. His routes can't stand up to Pupper, who shakes it like a ragdoll and goes for the kill, who's OAFG's little murder hound. Normally, Watson is awful, thanks to that Magneton he has. If you don't have a super effective move, it can cause problems. Wait, what's that? We do have a super effective move? Voltorb, Electrike and Magneton all go down to solo Flame Wheel attacks from Pupper. Thankfully, we don't get hit or paralysed by an errant static. Manectric is tougher, Thunder Waving us and then landing a Shockwave, but we do take it out with 3 Flame Wheels and get the third badge. There's a bit of a gap between here and the next gym as I swan around the northern part of the region and head down to Meteor Falls, but the next main fight is the Mount Chimney battle with Maxie. We start with a doggo duel as Pupper takes on Mightyena and comes off better, even if we do get sand attacks, which is a problem throughout the fight now. We take the Mightyena out with a barrage of Flame Wheels, go for the Camerupt with bite attacks. I was tempted to use our new move in Dig, but given it used Magnitude, it was probably for the best that I didn't. Last is Zubat, who eventually we take down with a Flame Wheel. Flannery is next. This is the fight where the Flash Fire ability would have probably been useful. Believe it or not, the only one who gives me trouble is Numel, as it survives bite and hits takedown. The rest of them, Slugma goes down to Dig, failing with Smog. Camerupt goes down to Dig, failing with Attract. Torkoal goes down to Dig, failing with Attract as well. If her Pokemon hadn't been so busy trying to seduce my fiery pup, things could have been very different there. Gym 5 is the normal gym. This one could be an interesting challenge given how potent some of our dad's Pokemon can be. We're at level 46, but I have a sneaky feeling that this might not be enough. I play this one carefully, starting out each battle with Dig to avoid the first move, and then finishing them off with a charcoal boosted Flame Wheel. Spinder misses a Psybeam thanks to Dig and hits us with Facade before we take it out. Vigoroth crashes a Facade into us after missing Slash. Linoone hits a Headbutt, unhelpfully not going for Belly Drum while we're digging, but we take it out. Slacking is easy. I keep using Dig, avoiding the non-truant turns leaping under the ground, and then attacking on the truant turns. I eventually finish it with a Flame Wheel, but it tanks the Digs quite well. The last fight is a long one, but I actually get through slacking without getting hit. I basically did to Norman and his slacking what Phoebe and her Dusclops did to me when I took on this very game, Pokemon Emerald, with a single slacking. Before anything else, I head back to Falaba Town and get the return TM for Pupper. This is an immense improvement on takedown in every single way, and probably an important move we'll need for tough water types. As we head east of Morville, before we can hit Gym 6, we've got the Weather Institute where we have to fight off Team Aqua and the like, and another rival fight just after it. May isn't a problem here, we only get tagged by a fake out, but that aside, it's a one-shot sweep with return, taking down Lombre, Slugma and Marsh Stomp in very quick order. Only one more fight ahead, and I'd like to say she gets harder, but she really doesn't. In Fortree City, there's the fight with Winona, and there's a few Pokemon on her team that have the potential to be tricky, but given the level gap we have at this point, I think we'll have enough to manage. There's only really one of her Pokemon that causes irritation. Swablu is one hit with Flamethrower. Pelipper is the irritating one as it uses Protect, and then survives Bite, but thankfully it fails with Supersonic before we take it out with Return. Altaria is taken out with 2 returns, her only counter being to use Dragon Dance. Skarmory and Tropius, you might be shocked to hear, are both one-hit knockouts with Flamethrower, so this was easier than the last one for sure, but I bet the next one isn't so pleasant. We're a long way from Gym 7 though, as we get story stuff with Team Magma and Aqua now. After doing Mount Pyre and seeing Archie run off with the orbs, and then the Magma hideout, there's another fight with Maxie himself as he stands over Groudon. I always feel like this would have been a great stage in Smash Bros. My Tiana goes down to a Flamethrower before Camerupt is next. I go for a Bite, hoping to get a flinch because, thanks to Intimidate, I doubt we'll one-hit it with Return. We don't get a flinch, but it only uses 2 Amnesias and it heals it as we take it out with 2 returns. Crobat is last, and it's another heart-in-mouth moment as it survives Flamethrower and uses Confuse Ray, but we take it down with another stream of fire. Job done. In Lilycove City, there's the final rival fight, and May hasn't gotten tougher since the Weather Institute. Tropius goes down to Flamethrower, proving no more resistant than Winona's was, before Slugma, Marsh Stomp and Ludicolo are all one hit with Return, meaning that that's the last time we'll see her in this game. On to the Aqua hideout next, and this is a mere stepping stone before we make our way to the next gym in Moss Deep City. And this one, the Psychic Gym, I am not looking forward to. The reason this is going to suck is that it's a double battle versus 2 part rock types and a part ground type who loves to spam Earthquake, plus a Xatu. I've got Wynaut in my team to make up the obligatory UBP, that's useless battle partner to you and me. I think this might take a bunch of tries. Let's see how the first attempt goes. And you might be surprised to hear, not well is the answer. Burned and intimidated, Claydol refrains from spamming Earthquake and going for Psychic instead, which is bad versus our woeful special defence. We do take Xatu out with 2 bites, why did I not go for Return? But that's all we knock out as Lunatone heals itself and Claydol takes Pupper out with Psychic. Not strong enough, guess we best go grind in the ocean. I make another crack at level 64, it doesn't go any better. I knock Claydol out, come within a whisker of knocking Lunatone out, but it takes Pupper out with a crit Psychic after using Calm Mind. Definitely not any better. I figured that this would be the brick wall part of the game. I even go get a Shell Belt in the hopes that HP recovery will make a difference. There's another try at level 67 and it ends in failure once again. We do at least take Claydol and Xatu out that time and get close to knocking out Lunatone after burning it. A 4th try occurs at level 70 after I'm really struggling to find opponents to grind on, going back across the map and rematching trainers that I've beaten previously. The 4th attempt ends in failure after going down to a Calm Mind boosted Psychic from Xatu. 5th effort comes at level 73. At least once we do this, the next bit of the game should be easy thanks to the levels we got here. I even had another look at the moveset. There's nothing Growlithe can learn that will be super effective on any of their Pokemon beyond Thief, and that's weaker than Bite. I should probably deal with Claydol first. We do, but not before it crits us with Earthquake and we go down again. 6th attempt comes at level 75. This one fails after I get a lucky clinch on Claydol, but get put to sleep with Hypnosis by Lunatone, and then free hit with Psychic from Xatu. Another try at level 77. Probably the worst bit of this is having to do the gym puzzle over and over. It's not hard, but tedious for sure. This time, I see how much damage an intimidated Claydol is doing with Earthquake and decide to leave it while I go for Xatu, taking it out with a Soul Return. Who'd have thought a 26 level advantage would prove to be so devastating? I take Lunatone out with Bite attacks and as Soul Rock comes out and Pupper stands with a third of his health left, I take out Claydol before focusing on Soul Rock. I expected a Calm Mind and it actually went for Sunny Day. We can't quite one-hit it, but Pupper narrowly survives Psychic and we take it out with the second bite. Thank Arceus for that. There's another double battle immediately after where we team up with Steven to take on Maxie and Tabitha, but it's really not a problem after the last one. Puppa mostly sweeps through the enemy Pokemon, though Steven's Matang does help a bit I suppose. Let's go do the Undersea Cabin I guess, get that particular bundle of joy out of the way. There's a fight with Archie, and it's not as bad as it could be. Mightyena goes down to Flamethrower before Crobat comes out and gets tagged with the same move, going down quickly, before Sharpedo is last. I go for Dig, but it lands Swagger and he heals it. Puppa hits himself, but takes it out with Return shortly after. Barring some legendary Pokemon shenanigans, not much happens until it's time to face Hoenn in the Sootopolis gym. This is not at all an easy fight, even despite the 33 level advantage over his ace. Love Disc is a one hit with Return. It's about the only one we do one hit. Celio gets 2 hit with Flamethrower but lands a Water Pulse. Whiscash takes a few hits, using Amnesia and being healed before we knock it out without being hurt, thankfully. Crawdont lands a Crab Hammer which hurts but we take it out with 3 returns thanks to Hoenn healing it. Kingdra is a 2 hit with Return. It leaves Puppa weak and on red health with a Water Pulse attack, but we knock it out with little trouble otherwise to get the last badge and head to the Pokemon League. There's a Wally fight in the hated Victory Road. Of his Pokemon, only Altaria is annoying as it survives Return and he heals it, only getting a Dragon Dance in. It doesn't hurt us, it just proves to be an annoying opponent. Delcatty goes down to Flamethrower. Magneton goes down to the same move before he makes the brave choice to send in Roselia next, who also gets taken out by Flamethrower. Last is Gardevoir, who goes down to Return. I make it to Evergrande City and stand in the hallway. Here are our stats at level 82. Our attack stats and speed are good. Our defences aren't so good. These fights could get interesting. Comments on whether or not you think I can do this or not. Sydney is first and he is an easy victory. Mightyena goes down to Flamethrower but lowers our attack with Intimidate. Absol also goes down to Flamethrower. Crawdont resists our fire and so we do just over half with Return. It goes for Swords Dance and then we take it out with a second Return. Shiftry is a one hit with Flamethrower before Cacturn is last and yep, it goes down to Flamethrower. If they're all that easy, yeah, they're not all going to be that easy. Phoebe is next, and I reckon this one has the potential to be tricky. Think it depends on how we do versus her first Dusclops. At least we don't have to worry about being burned, but I'm definitely worried about being cursed. And it proves to be a very real, very valid worry, as Dig doesn't do much to Dusclops number 1. I know it's going to protect, so I don't attack per se, but it does land Curse, and although we eventually take it out, the damage is done. Puppa goes down, this is the second Dusclops very quickly. I figure I'll go put another few levels on and then try again. If I'm struggling here, I'll definitely need them for later. I try her again at level 85. This time goes marginally better as I take out 3 of her Pokemon, both Dusclops and a Bayonet, but curse damage takes Puppa down versus Sableye. I make a third attempt at level 88. I'll go for Bites. Hopefully I can get the flinch. I do that, I'll win. Simple as. If she doesn't use Curse, I'll win. Gen 2 and Gen 3 mechanics are different here. In Gen 2, you didn't take Curse damage the same turn if you knocked an opponent out. In Gen 3, and I'm assuming beyond this gen, you do. Ah well. I'm right, you know. She doesn't use Curse this fight. We take the first 2 Dusclops down with a series of bite attacks. The only real danger coming from an ineffective Shadow Punch from the first Dusclops and a surprisingly weak Earthquake from the second one. Both Bayonet goes down to bite attacks and Sableye goes down to a Flamethrower. That was easier than it could have been. Strange how one move not being used can make a very massive difference. Glacier is next. Unfortunately, 3/5 of her team is also water type, so it's not like this one is going to be any easier. Also, they're tanky water types, so I guess we've got our work cut out. Incidentally, has anyone ever actually met someone named Glacier IRL? I've met a Sydney, I've met a Phoebe, a Drake, a Wallace, but never a Glacier. Celio goes down eventually, but it isn't easy. Walrein, forget it. We do burn it with Flamethrower, but we get badly messed up by a single Surf attack. I nearly get away with it using Dig to avoid a second Surf to let the burn damage weaken it further, but it narrowly survives and takes us out with another Surf, meaning we lose. I'm level 91 by the time I get to challenging her again. Let's see how this effort goes. Lucky is the answer. Celio goes down to return, bite and return, throwing up hail and then getting healed. I land Flamethrower on Walrein and it does about a third before it clocks Puppa with Surf. I go for return, expecting I'm going to have to reset, but it knocks it out. She sends Glalie out next and I blast it with Flamethrower, grateful for the health recovery, before Celio is next. Go for bite to hope for a flinch, no joy there, before taking it out with return after it puts the hail back up. Second Glalie goes down to Flamethrower, 3 down. I wonder how Drake will go. He has the potential to hurt us, but the way I recall it, his Pokemon aren't quite as tanky as Phoebe and Glaciers. So, if we can strike first, we might be okay. What I will have to watch out for is his Rock Tomb in Shelgon. That kept screwing us over in the Cacnea run. I get a strange amount of fortune in this fight, and it turns out not to be anywhere near enough. Shelgon is a 2-hit with Bite, but it hits us with Rock Tomb. It's not the super effective damage that bothers me, but the speed drop. Flygon is a problem as it deals big damage with Earthquake. We take it out despite him healing it. But next is Salamence, and I'd have preferred this later in the fight as it weakens our return attacks with Intimidate. I go for Bites, hoping for the flinch as it lands Rock Slide and Flamethrower to leave Puppa on 3 HP. I get a flinch and take it out with return. Next is Kingdra, and I go for Bite, which does about a quarter to a third of its health, and I get a flinch before going for return. Unfortunately, it survives, my luck runs out and it goes for Surf, ending the attempt. I guess we need more power then. Fighting back through the Elite Four, I make another try at level 93. This time Puppa goes down to Salamence, taking 2 Rock Slides and a Dragon Claw before being knocked out, thanks to us not getting any flinches from Bite. All this after we went into the fight unscathed, thanks to a crit return on Flygon. Another try comes at level 95. If I don't do it this time, I'm topping my level off to 100 with rare candies and going all in. It does end in failure. Mind you, Shelgon getting a crit off Rock Tomb doesn't help. We're just not quite strong enough yet to one-hit Flygon with return, and we get wrecked with Earthquake before being finished off by Salamance's Rock Slide, which incidentally doesn't seem to miss anywhere near as much when it's an enemy combatant using the move. Anyway, we go for broke and raise up to level 100. Our stats, well, this is what we're working with, it's what we've got. We can't make them any further better, so I guess we go again. This time, versus Drake, I just decide to return everything and hope for the best. It turns out to be enough. Shelgon survives the first return and lands double edge, but after he heals it, we take it out at the second attempt. Flygon is 1 hit with return. Salamence does land Rock Slide, but is 2 hit with return. Kingdra might have been able to cause us some problems, but he goes for Dragon Dance and we 2 hit it with return before the exact same sequence of events happens versus Altaria. Return, Dragon Dance, return, victory! I heal up and head off to face Wallace. This one could be rough. Hopefully, he doesn't send his Gyarados out too early because we're probably screwed if he does. We take out Wailord, we take out Ludicolo despite getting hit with a Rain Enhanced Surf which screws us for the rest of the fight. And we take out Tentacruel with Dig, but ultimately, on the first attempt, we go down to Whiscash. On my third attempt, everything goes right up until I just fail to knock my Lotic out. It survives on a fraction of red health. I had good flinch and crit luck throughout, but just fell short. Several times I make it to my Lotic, only to go down to that Serpent. It's a tough cookie. It takes probably a dozen attempts, but ultimately I get the right conflux of events. Wailord, I use Bite on and then get hit by Blizzard. Not part of the plan, but not the worst result as I knock it out with return. Bite and return take out Ludicolo, and I'm fortunate he doesn't land Leech Seed because that screwed us on a lot of runs. Dig takes out Tentacruel. Bite and return take out Whiscash without it landing a blow. 2 returns take out Gyarados. Thankfully it goes to Dragon Dance rather than Surf because that would mess us up. Return on my Lotic and it lands on yellow health. I figure it's going to eat the Citrus Berry as it lands Surf, but it doesn't, and a second return finally takes it out, meaning that we beat Wallace and enter the Hall of Fame. That was a horrific final battle. Still, there is one final trial left to attempt, and we might have a reasonable chance at this. I head to Meteor Falls to take on Stephen Stone. Most of my prior Emerald challenges, I figure we've got no chance, but here, I reckon Puppa might have a shot. I'll make a few efforts and see how it goes. Not good is the answer. Sure, we can one-hit Skarmory. A lot of the time, we can one-hit Metagross. The problem comes against Claydol. We have no sort of good answer to it beyond trying to flinch it with Bite, and that's not really an option. Plus, it knows Earthquake. On the one occasion we do get past it, we go down to Aggron. With all this in mind, I'm going to have to call it here. Too many of his Pokemon know Earthquake. We're getting far too messed up by that move. So that was unexpectedly tougher than I thought it would be, and the next Emerald challenge I've got lined up for a few weeks' time will probably be even worse, but we'll talk about that in the future. Anyway, I wasn't prepared for just how bad the end game would be here. I hope so much that you've enjoyed this run. Most of my predictions at the start came true. If you did enjoy this, then don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, all that kind of thing. Also, join me next week for another exciting instalment as I see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with a single Makuhita. That one is sure to be intriguing. Until that next time, I'm going to have to say this has been Once and Future Gamer, and take care now. Have a great day. I will see you next time. This has been Pokemon Emerald. This has been Can I Beat It with a single Growlithe. Bye bye now.